ॐ सहना भवतु
सहना भवतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
मा विद्विषावहै
मा विद्विषावहै
ॐ
ॐ
शान्ति शान्ति
शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
वसुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रम्
वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगेन्द्रम्
नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम्
नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम्
मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय
मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय
तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते
तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते
नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासम्
नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासम्
निराकारं निरञ्जनम्
निराकारं निरञ्जनम्
नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दम्
नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दम्
गुरुं ब्रह्म नमाम्यहम्
गुरुं ब्रह्म नमाम्यहम्
साधनचतुष्टय सम्पन्ना
साधनचतुष्टय सम्पन्ना अधिकारिणाम्
मोक्षसाधनभूतम्
मोक्षसाधनभूतम्
तत्त्वविवेकप्रकारम्
तत्त्वविवेकप्रकारम्
वक्ष्यामः
रक्ष्यामः
साधनचतुष्टयं किम्
साधनचतुष्टयम् किम्
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः
इहामुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः
इह मुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः
क्षमादिषट्कसम्पत्तिः
समाधिषट्कसम्पत्तिः
मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति
मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः कः
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः कः
नित्यवस्त्वेकं ब्रह्म
नित्यवस्तुवेकं ब्रह्म
तद्व्यतिरिक्तं सर्वमनित्यम्
तद्व्यतिरिक्तं सर्वं नित्यम्
अयमेव
अयमेव
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः
नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः
विरागः कः
विरागः कः
इह स्वर्गभोगेषु इच्छाराहित्यम्
इह स्वर्गभोगेषु इच्छाराहित्यम्
इहामुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः
इह मुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः
समाधिसाधतिः का
समाधिसाधनसम्पत्तिः का
शमोदम उपरतिः
तमोदम उपरतिः
तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समाधान च इति
तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समाधानं च इति
समः कः
समः कः
मनोनिग्रहः
मनोनिग्रहः
दमः कः
दमः कः
चक्षुरादि बाह्येन्द्रियनिग्रहः
चक्षुरादि बाहेन्द्रियनिग्रहः
उपरमः कः
उपरमः कः
स्वधर्मानुष्ठानमेव
स्वधर्मनुष्ठानमेव
तितीक्षा का
तितिक्षा का
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखादिसहिष्णुत्वम्
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखखादिसहिष्णुत्वम्
श्रद्धा कीदृशी
श्रद्धा कीदृशी
गुरुवेदान्तवाक्यादिषु विश्वासः
गुरुवेदान्तवाक्यादिषु विश्वासः
समाधानं किम्
समाधानं किम्
चित्तैकाग्रता
चित्तैकाग्रता
Great, thank you. So we'll continue from here. What is samadhanam? And to appreciate the value and the worth of this quality, we need to go back a little bit into the development of human cognition. The field is still exploring itself. We are still learning about it, how human beings gain knowledge, how do they perceive the world, the theories of perception, etc. But there is something very fundamental that has been quite accepted now in terms of cognitive development. In a normal psychological way, a famous psychologist, Jean Piaget, has elaborated to some extent a child's cognitive developmental stages. And when you read a little bit about it, it quite akins itself to what the rishis proposed in terms of the Vedic knowledge. What is called the knowledge that we are associated with. These rishis, their entire attention was on maximizing human development. How do you maximize your birth opportunity? This was the primary focus. All knowledges in the Vedas, Vedangas, Upavedas, everything has emerged with just one objective. And that objective is human birth को, जीवन को सार्थक कैसे करें? How do you develop it? What are the laws? What are the rules, if there are any? They started this inquiry because we recognize that a human body doesn't need much will to grow. It seems to be programmed. It seems to be developed on its own, developing, growing. Shad vikar iska swabhav hai. Birth, change, you grow, then there is change, then there is vikara further taking place, there's deterioration, then there is disease, and there is death. Shad vikar. 6 changes that come to human body. None of these 6 changes have anything much to do with human will. अगर जीवन सिर्फ इसी के थ्रू प्रोसेस करना था, you just pass your life through these 6 stages, then what is the use of will? Why does man have this capacity of will? This will, again, as I keep saying and reminding ourselves, there are some words in Sanskrit, in the terminologies that Vedas were educating us with, which have no parallel in English as well. Therefore, will word is actually Purusharth. 4 kinds of Purusharths that they identified, which we have done. Moksha is said to be the maximal potential, maximal achievement, maximal possibility, human growth. That your Purusharth for moksha is the final Purusharth that one can put in as an opportunity of this birth, while the body is on its own going through its stages of its growth and decline. And finally, death of the body. Before death strikes, ये जो रोज उठ के एक हमें जीवन का एहसास है और मेरे मैं का एक फील है, मेरे होने का अस्तित्व, that I call as mine, my individuality, recognition of its true nature is called moksha. This is actually the entire process of development within which this very small branch of cognitive development comes also into acceptance. A human being can only aspire for moksha truly in a committed way, in an exclusive way, in a dedicated way. वो तभी उसको pursue कर सकता है when his cognitive development has also shaped as what we would call it as normal process of acquiring information, sensory information. What is normal process? As I said, senses are revealing the data, your mind is absorbing the data, your buddhi is supposed to analyze it, then the individual is supposed to decide on that data, उसे क्या करना है. Simple put, very simply put. But a lot of us and most of us, our cognitive development is not complete itself. I would call it even neuronal development. Why is it not complete? Because the state of your chittam, mind, that has to be held neutral and objective, freed of the overwhelming sense of individuality. This somewhere in the process of life, we lose very, very early in our childhood. This psychologist, John Piaget, said, one of the ways in which a human child develops his cognitive capacities, there are 4 factors in it: equilibrium, maturation of the process, the environment, physical environment, and social interaction. These are very general terms. Each one, of course, has a lot of details in it. I'm only picking what is relevant to us here. Equilibrium is what is most relevant here. According to the psychologist, cognitive development takes place when the information that you gain, new information that you gain from the world, or any new information, balances itself with your existing information within. So there is some pre-knowledge that you hold. In Vedanta, generally it was called as vasanas, sanskars. I prefer the word sanskars. I am very rare in the usage of vasanas. There is a pre-knowledge that one holds within oneself, even instinctive knowledge. When you acquire new knowledge, something very new, it goes and mixes with your existing knowledge. And when they get balanced together, then development, cognitive development takes place. Example he gave was, if I remember well, a child goes to zoo and he has seen a pony in his farm, a pony in his farm. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, I think I'm turning it out. He's seen a dog in his farm. It may be one of the two, I don't remember. But doesn't matter, take the spirit of it. He sees a dog in the farm and he goes to the zoo for the first time. And zoo he sees a pony. And already in his schemata, it's called, in his information, he already has the knowledge of dog. When he sees a look-alike creature, quickly, with assimilating the information, in the process of it, his eyes only revealed a new creature that he'd never seen before. And as the information came in, the mind, the child's mind, mixes it up immediately with his existing knowledge, the knowledge of a dog, and he jumps in excitement and he says, dog, dog, dog. He points to the pony and says, dog. Now, this is fundamentally called, in his terms, assimilation. Means you have just taken the new information and just kind of superimposed it. And nothing new came out of it. Though it was an entirely different thing. So the adult there starts to educate, show the similarity and the difference. And in that process of education, learning, the child accommodates the new information. And this now has come as knowledge of a pony, dog and pony. Now his cognition has developed. So this point of recognition that there is a cognitive development also in terms of information, knowledge that comes from the world. Now, what is Samadhanam? Let me retrace it back a bit. When the new information has got balanced with our existing information, that equilibrium brings development, and not only brings development, it gives a sense of I know. And that I know, correct knowledge, always holds in it a degree of shanti, peace. Wrong knowledge is always disturbing because the assimilation process has not happened. Means a wrong knowledge is going against the very grasp of finding the whole picture that we all have a force within. What is a force within? Find the full happiness, Poonam, Poona Anandam. Whatever existing knowledge and new knowledge we get, when, it's like that, I like the Rubik's Cube. When you play with a Rubik's Cube, it's very interesting because you try all permutation combinations and then you figure it out and then you have all the colors aligned. all whites one side, reds one side, orange one side, etc. It fit. The minute it fits in, the picture is whole. Purna drishti. With reference to avidya, means when I don't have the purna drishti, I see myself as an individual. दुनिया मुझसे अलग है, भगवान तो पता नहीं है कि नहीं है, मानो तो है, नहीं मानो तो नहीं है, बट है, थॉट है, भगवान है कि नहीं है का थॉट तो है. So there is God, there is the world outside, and there is me. This Triputi division that I see as three, the plurality that I experience, this plurality is actually not giving me shanti. The vision of plurality doesn't give me peace because my Rubik cube is actually just getting distorted. It's not sorting itself. Everything I do is only now making it more complex. So many times, I don't know, as children, whoever's done it, there are 2, 3, you just feel that this ko sort ho hi nahi sakta, and you just keep it aside. And you try and get a new one. I think one of you can see, I can see Rimjim nodding. Then you just get a new one and saying, Acha, theek hai, let me just try this now, maybe another time. Because you messed it up so badly before that you just feel ki isko I to can't sort it now. The plurality ka vision, in our attempt to find the unison there, harmony there, in our attempt to find what is the base that I'm looking for, wanting, etc., many times it happens that the information I'm getting just doesn't place inside to give me the shanti. That dissatisfaction, unhappiness, that struggle, that seeking doesn't end. You go on seeking it. According to normal development, natural development, जो होनी चाहिए जैसे होनी चाहिए. As I'm saying again, not everybody goes, otherwise everybody would be a wise person. Somehow people don't go because that also is a discipline. Somehow the discipline part of it gets removed. Information is not, mostly adults are responsible for it. We do not give the right kind of information, the right answers to children, etc., etc. Equilibrium, I'm repeating myself here now, equilibrium meant not just balancing the mind, it is balancing the information that I am gaining with reference to my inner information that I already hold. Now you come to Vedanta. This is with reference to cognitive development. What are you listening in Vedanta? Everything that I said just now, avidya word. Did you understand avidya as self-ignorance before? When somebody says, hey, you are just an ignorant person. What is your understanding of ignorance? Ignorance about something, of some subject. Ignorance about, I am ignorant how to make a building. I am ignorant about how to make ornaments. Ignorance always we understand as something outside. किसी चीज को लेके I don't know. खुद को लेके I don't know. Somehow that doubt never came. Vedanta starts from there. They said the root of all your this, that kree inside is, all of it is avidya. I have not heard the word avidya. Moksha. What is moksha now? Come on, yeah. Can't you just tell me something which is more relatable and practical? What is moksha? Who's aspiring for moksha? Who wants moksha? I just want my immediate life happiness. All these are big words. Don't use this jargon. All ideas, concepts, punya, paap, moksha, Brahman, Atman, Sansar, Samadhan, Titiksha, Shraddha, all these terms have their own very specific meaning, which is information first coming from outside. You are hearing it. This information, if it doesn't get assimilated inside as accommodated with your existing information, you will not get knowledge. These are very important words. You may know about what Vedanta says, but knowledge processing, complete knowledge only happens when what I'm hearing, what Vedanta tells me about my nature, what Vedanta reveals to me as my Swarupam being Brahman Advitiyam, not born, not dying. My God, I just started the class by saying body grows on its own and goes to death. And Vedanta tells me, the indweller of it, has no change, no vikar. I neither grow nor die. Forget about disease and decay. I'm a changeless entity. I'm changeless. Entity to हमें कहना पड़ रहा है for communication. I'm changeless. Now here my perception is of me, the small limited being, name and form, born and gone. That's it. Wants, hopes, aspirations, fears. I keep repeating this. I think in every class I repeat it. Because to me it's always fresh. This is what I see myself as. But Vedanta is giving me a totally different view. That information, when I have absorbed, heard and absorbed, and led my life on doing as was proclaimed or as was said, which is all what you ought to be doing without your ragadvesh, etc. Dhire, 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 the mind changes its structure. I'm calling it structure. It doesn't mean grossly structure. It changes the way it perceives. Cognition changes. जहां हमें पहले सांप दिख रहा था, where I saw a snake before, I saw a snake. And when I started examining it, someone told me, remember the 10th man story? Someone told me that there is no snake there. I had to have had Shraddha at that time. For that new information that Vedanta gives me, I must hold the knowledge. That knowledge, then I start inquiring. I inquire whether there is the snake there or not. Is this person speaking the truth? क्या ये मतलब first impression तो मेरा यही होता है, जीवत्वम जिसका strong है, individuality जिसकी firm है. When someone gives you such an information, and especially in today's world, people say, what do you get out of it? तुम्हारा क्या फायदा हो रहा है? पहले हमें ये बताओ. क्यों तुम मुझे बता रहे हो कि यहाँ सांप है, सांप नहीं है, रोप है. तुम मुझे ये क्यों बता रहे हो? तुम्हारा क्या फायदा है? Your first instinct may be doubt the person. Why does this person want to tell me? Do they want to harm me? Because if I believe the person and it turns out to be सांप, और उसने कहा सांप नहीं है, and I start examining it and it turns out to be the snake, gone. I'm gone. And if it's something that is irreplaceable after that. That faith, that trust is irreplaceable after that. I cannot easily trust someone else. Would Shastra do this to any life form? When it says equilibrium, means when it says samadhanam, it doesn't just mean hooded thinking, single pointed, though the definition is chitta ek agrata. As we said yesterday, agrata, there in front of me, whatever perceptions are there in front of me, my mind absorbs them and it gets integrated with my existing knowledge, does not create a vikar in me. ऐसा नहीं होता है, हाय ऐसा नहीं, मतलब जो भी होता है, it's left at a external level. When I see a snake, I'm bound to get fear. If on the rope I see a garland, I may want it. Both instincts will attach me to the thought process. They will want me to do something, either run or take. Go towards it or go away from it. The new information that Vedanta is giving me in my mind, which has been, chiseled, I will say, through my self-disciplines, sadhana chatushtayam. Without these sadhanas, without sadhana word को लोगों ने बहुत, in fact, whoever doesn't want to accept, they will take any word and distort it. Sadhana word, they will discipline, they will distort. Everything can be distorted. But without those practices there, your mind cannot be held in a relaxed mode. And a relaxed mode is a non-coveting mode. मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये बनना है, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वहां जाना है, मैं ये करूं तो मुझे ये मिलेगा. That bubbling restlessness. I like the example I gave you. Tawa pe, hot tawa pe, put the water. And another example in the morning I was thinking, when you are out in near a lake or ocean or seas and it rains, what happens to the surface of the sea or the lake? As the water goes, every part of the lake is restless, as if it's in ripples. There are ripples and ripples and ripples collide with each other. The same lake, pond, river, whatever, you go a little more deeper and deeper. In sea and ocean, you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. ऊपर क्या हो रहा है? बारिश हो रही है. गहराई में जाओ, what happens? Ekagrata. There is chitta ekagrata. What is happening at a superficial level? Conscious level. What is happening at your interactive level? When you're interacting in the world, what is happening? All restlessness is at that level. Because no interaction actually fulfills anybody else. Took me very long to accept it, but I think I finally started realizing it. The truth of the statement. There is no interaction that can fulfill anyone. No interaction. None. There is zero interaction because finally there is only one truth. And the truth is you alone exist. You are the truth. Everything else is a shadow. It may take me years to understand, doesn't matter. The truth won't change in the process. The truth is universal, it will remain so till I understand it, till I absorb it, and till I see it. I'll have to pursue it. Now, all the new information that I get through Vedanta has to integrate with my existing knowledge. And what is my existing knowledge? Is my prakrit Swabhav ka gyan. What is it I must earn for my living? I must be doing if I want something. The worst thing ever was in my growing years, I remember if I don't go to their marriage or their chautha, who will come to your marriage or your chautha? It was the most hilarious statement I ever heard. Firstly, I will not be there to see who comes or who doesn't come. So forget about that. But who will come? The family is busy with this. कि हम नहीं जाएंगे तो तुम्हारी शादी में कौन आएगा? This is just an example. But what is happening at an interactive level? Is it fulfilling anyone? It is something that is vyavharik, okay, fine, accepted at a vyavharik level. But vyavharik level is not purnatvam. It's not your nature. It is a transactional medium. Don't confuse a transactional medium with knowledge of Vedanta. So all these practices that are said here, remember, and I make a lot of emphasis on this point. All these practices, though they may apply in your immediate life, the purpose of Vedantic practices is to see how your fulfillment you get closer to. Cognitive development is only with reference to your information. But the deep-seated prakrit swabhav mein mujhe ye chahiye, mujhe ye banna hai, mujhe sukh hai, mujhe dukh hai, I am this, I am that. we are habitually trained to perceive ourselves in a very limited way. I'll repeat the statement. We have habitually perceived ourselves. We continue to perceive ourselves. Even when we listen to Vedanta, even when we are listening to Vedanta, we are listening with this pre-judgment on ourselves. We have a perception formed about मैं कौन हूँ. अगर आपको कोई पूछे, we should, maybe in that workshop I'll try, or my first question would be, I'll ask you, be prepared. I may ask you, आप कौन हो पे एक छोटा नोट लिखो. Who are you? What do you see yourself as? If it was just a psychological workshop, it'll be fine to say I'm this, I'm that, I want to be this, I want to. But when it comes to Vedanta, will that information be adequate enough to say I am this and that and that and that? The very pre-assessment of yourself as an individual is at question here. Samadhanam means having done all my Shama, Dama, Adi, Shataka, Sampatti, sadhana, 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 repeat it 1 billion times, because everyone who knows this is least invested in practicing it. Many people know about all this. All of us, we hear it first. But by the time it comes with clarity to us, somehow, that I know supersedes the fact that, have I allowed it to work in me? Has the new information blended itself with my existing information? This blending the knowledge with my existing information, later on you will realize, is mananam and nididhyasanam. Only when these are shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam complete themselves, will you say, I have knowledge. Many times shravanam is adequate enough, no doubt about it. But samadhan, when it says, is chitta ekagrata. Gaining this information of Vedanta, who you are, integrating it in such a way over a mind which has matured itself with the practices and is now shant, quiet. Quiet मतलब ये नहीं है कि thought नहीं है. ऊपर कितने भी thoughts चल रहे हैं, the person has learned to identify the depth of his own mind. चित्त के अंदर की गहराई में वो शांत है. ओशन की गहराई में शांत है. How have you penetrated into your own subtle body? How have you identified? When we say penetrated, doesn't mean पहुंच गए अंदर. How much have you identified? Remove the superficial layers as calling them superficial and leaving it at that. Interactional level पे जरूरी है. But they don't define me. They don't define me. Is the right thing. They are there at vyavharik level, but they don't define me. Have I invested myself to discover who I am? And in that process were all these Tama, Dama, Adi, Shataka, Sampatti. And in Gita it is Karam Yoga, primarily Karam Yoga. Till we don't know it, don't worry. All these are, saying the same thing ultimately. आप कोई भी एक पकड़ लोगे, सब पकड़ में आ जाता है. Any one discipline you hold, you don't need knowledge of too many disciplines. You need only commitment to any one discipline, and you will realize that your mind is beginning to expand, grow. When we say mind grows, means you as the person has started discovering the freedom from the superficial existence, idea of your existence, and it's getting, all that information is getting integrated and settling inside. This settling of the information on a quiet, relaxed, calm, expanded, call them anything, call cheerful, detached, objective, koi bhi naam de do. But you are identified as your deepest most point with which you are anchored, with which you are united. That ekagrata, there where in a relaxed state all your senses are alert and your chit is holding that and yet not identifying with it. Why? Because what it identifies with is very well said in Viveka Chudamani. As I said, Tattva Bodha is just very, very rudimentary, very good for starting. It gives all of it. It doesn't mean it's less. It gives all the basics that are necessary. But these are definitions that can also be used as in the world, personality development, etc. But Viveka Chudamani, author Shankaracharya, has been very specific to define the same qualities in the context of Vedanta. Now here in this verse of Samadhan, he says, Samyak Sthapanam Buddhehe. One of the finest terms defining Samadhan. What is the previous definition? Chitta Ekagrata. What is this definition now beginning? They are describing the same Samadhan. The words are different. What is this word saying? Where Samyak means very well, complete, in whole, total, अच्छे से. Thapanam, established. बैठ गया है. क्या बैठा है? बुद्धे है. जिसकी बुद्धि बैठ गई है अच्छे से. What is समाधानम? बुद्धि बैठ गई है अच्छे से. किस पे बैठी है? शुद्धे ब्रह्मणि. In that pure, शुद्ध, ब्रह्मणि, in Brahman. Pure Brahman. What is pure Brahman? Shuddha. Shuddha Brahman means, pure word is again, Shuddha means in its actualness, without any seeing the rope as the rope, is Shuddha perception of rope. Seeing the existence as Brahman is Shuddha perception, is Shuddha knowledge of Brahman. Brahman alone is. When I see Brahman and world, when I know the Brahman is the truth, but I see the world. Now this is Ashuddha Brahman, because actually Brahman may dunya, it's nothing. When you see the later portions of Tattva Bodha, it will get more clearer. Shuddha is pure. Some people call it as Nirguna Brahman. What is Ashuddha then? There's nothing like Ashuddha. Saguna Brahman. Brahman with gunas, which is Ishvara and the world, plurality. Shuddhe Brahmani. What is Samadhan ka definition? He says, जब आपकी बुद्धि, and remember buddhi is associated with Viveka Shakti. When your Viveka Shakti is centered, wholly, completely, established in true Viveka, in Brahman, which is Advitiyam, Shuddh, Sarvada, always. As my favorite example, if you're woken up in the middle of the night from a very deep sleep, shaken up and said, hey, who are you? What is your first thought? I'm so and so. First thought is of course to slap. Why uthaya kyun? अच्छे से नींद. That is your, I agree. But pester करके नाम क्या है तुम्हारा? You don't have to think twice. Sarvada, that knowledge is sarvada with you. Even in deep sleep, you take it with you. Because when you wake up, you don't ask your parents, "Aaj mera naam kya hai? I've forgotten my name." It's very fascinating. How deeply is that conditioning there? How united are you with that knowledge? And it's just a name. It's not your identity. नाम है आपका. और उस नाम को हमने ऐसा अपना माना है कि हम पूरे जीवन भर उस नाम को भूलते नहीं है। ज्ञान की, यू नो, दैट हाउ मच आर यू यूनाइटेड टू दैट नॉलेज, कितना जुड़ चुके हो इस ज्ञान से। एंड ये ज्ञान सत्य नहीं है। यू आर नॉट दिस नेम, बट देर इज नो वे यू फॉरगेट दैट थ्रू योर होल लाइफ. Sarvada is that. Means your buddhi is always in recognition, always in recognition of this Brahman, which is Advitiyam. Your buddhi is well established. Tat samadhanam iti uktam. Uktam is said. Iti is the definition. उसी को समाधान कहते हैं. That is called samadhanam. And why this definition is very beautiful is because he gives the opposite of it. How people can misunderstand this quality of samadhan is, you know, when we are growing up as teenagers and you take fancy for a person or a thing or an object, और वो कैसे आपके मन में बैठे हुए हैं. They just stay there in your mind. That person, उसके बिना जिंदगी अधूरी लगती है. When you grow up and you realize how stupid was that, you know, it just is a matter of time to recognize your stupidity. But at that time, if someone said you're stupid, you wouldn't believe it. And go even more younger than that, you know, when you're, especially for girls, and it's easy to identify when you have dolls as your life partners. You know, your friend, your sister, that identification with a doll, you know, is so complete at that time. That absorption of your mind with that object of your like is not samadhan. उस वक्त भी एक एकाग्रता लगती है. You feel that your mind is completely absorbed with it. कि उसके अलग तुम कुछ सोच नहीं सकते. But this author Shankaracharya says, Natu, but not Chittasya lalanam. Beautiful word, lalanam. Lalanam is khilana usko, you know, coaxing, cajoling, indulgence. Some teachers have translated it as indulgence. Lalanam means usko, you know, how you play with your children and cajole them, coax them, and you kind of indulge them and you revel in, you know, it's that playfulness में जो absorbed mind होता है. That means you are not, I think I have written here pampering, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, not pampering of the mind. Lalanam means you're not pampering the mind based on its likes and dislikes. When I like something and it absorbs my mind. See, the common point here is your ekagrata. From the previous definition. Chitta ekagrata. जब आपके चित्त में बस एक ही वस्तु है, उसको आप समाधान समझोगे. बट एक ही वस्तु, you know, आपकी ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ लाइक भी हो सकती है. So this Shankaracharya says, your topic in your mind is your swarup, Brahman, not as an object. विषय नहीं है वो आपके विचार का. Your mind is absorbed with you, the Brahman. Ramana Maharishi puts it very, very well. You are absorbed means your mind doesn't have anything else. Mind also again, chit. Take it as chit only. Chit is the right meaning. आपका चित्त means वो स्थान जहां पे आप awareness है आपकी. The स्थान where you are alert, not in the sense of objective alert. जागे हुए हो आप. Conscious हो. That conscious स्थान, you know, your mind, your chitt is full of that recognition. The buddhi has no doubt about it. Later on, you'll see the definitions in this book itself, Tattva Bodha. They're going to give you the definition of the mind and the intellect, both. Buddhi और मन में डेफिनेशन आता है. बुद्धि वो है जो संशय हटा देती है. Am I this form? Am I this name? Am I this person? Am I this gender? Am I these bundles of thoughts? बुद्धि में संशय नहीं है. I'm not. Because Vedantic information has taken a cognitive change in you. People who listen to Vedanta and do not go through the process of integrating that knowledge will find the knowledge confusing. Because दुनिया एक language करती है use, शास्त्र तुम्हारी language बदल देता है. दुनिया कहती है go work for fruits, result के बिना तुम्हारा चित्त ही नहीं लगेगा उसमें, you won't be motivated, so you have to keep the person motivated by constantly tipping them, etc., rewarding them and blah blah. Vedanta कहेगी you fall for the rewarding methodology, you will be bound. You fall for the rewarding technique, you will be miserable at some point of time. You associate your actions with your rewards and results, you will bind yourself. You will be feeling more frustrated at some point of time. You will feel smaller. You will feel more smaller, more limited. So don't fall for these gains. Don't fall means don't let the mind get attached to all this. भाषा बदल दी उसने. जब भाषा, your outlook has changed. You are still living in the world with a different outlook. So what does cognitive development have to do with samadhanam? Samadhanam, rishis ke, cognitive development is our recent language. Rishis did not need to point it out. For them, when you aspired for your highest goal, your highest purusharth, you were working on your development. And because of that, mind, chit, aapka awareness, you come to the seat of awareness. Sthan aapka kya hai? That awareness sthan, conscious sthan, the sthan of consciousness. I am aware, uska nature. That when your mind is held on it, means chit aapka usko आराम से बैठा है, relaxed state में it is in its awareness. That is called samadhanam. Natu, not the indulgent mind, the pampering of the mind. Thoughts को छोड़ दिया उसको. Know how my other favorite word used to be daydream. When you loved, what is your idea of relaxed mode? You know, especially in our teenage life, we all looked forward to it. I don't know if we have the leisure anymore or the luxury anymore, but a lot of times our idea of relaxation has been daydream. And if any of our around told us, "Bhaiya, utke kuch kar lo," oof, the villains in our life. Utke kuch kar lo. Why did you get me to break my? I was enjoying myself. That was shanti. Remember? It was shanti. You felt so relaxing inside to let your mind go. For children, it's still okay because they're in the process of cognitive development. But once it's over, that stage of your life is gone. Daydreaming any further is now an obstacle. You're pampering, you're allowing your mind to linger on the object of your affection, on the object of your, any object of your, it can be just simple terms. For Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, this example is given very well. For him, the object of his absorption of the mind was Devi. For him, the mind, for him, she was not a idol. His mind had got so identified with Devi that to him it felt like a person. She was embodied. He could talk to her. He could actually, that lingering. That mind was absorbed with it. Of course, the full story goes to say that ultimately he had to break it to get full knowledge. But that, lingering of holding on to that as an objective piece of joy. It can be Devi. It could be anything else. Samadhanam is here, within. You yourself. Within and without भी एक बात अलग है. Division है. Your conscious being that you are, you have placed its identity in recognition. And at superficial levels, व्यवहार चल रहा है. Doesn't matter. So if it will be a tiger, you'll run away. If it is a cow, you will go near it. You will pat a cow, you won't pat a tiger. व्यवहार होता रहेगा. But correction has happened at another level. You no longer are believing that vyavahar to be a whole reality. It's an incidental appearance. It is a momentary appearance. Lalanam word means I let my mind dwell on the object of my like and believe myself to be focused. Believe myself I'm concentrating. So, what is samadhan? Chitta ekagrata. But the object of your ekagrata is not, thanks to Viveka Chudamani, object of your ekagrata is not something outside. The object where your chit has become ekagra is when on a quiet, reflective, shant mana, antakaranam, the nirguna Brahman itself is now recognized as the sthan of all perceptions. The duality has gone. So samadhan becomes an aid. And as we said yesterday, yoga in particular school, Patanjali Yoga school, works a lot, and what we call as samadhan, they call as samadhi. Remember in the stages that we did, one of the last stages we said was samadhi. So through the help of this definition, what is called samadhan here, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, they call it as samadhi. It'll help you understand what we mean by samadhan here. But yes, if you just take it as a quality, and any meditative practice as practice, sadhana, it's sadhana chatushtayam mein. As sadhana, when you just become observant without identifying with anything, a generalized state of observation, staying in a state of observation. Many people call it sakshi, but I don't prefer to call it sakshi. Doesn't matter what you call, as long as the practice is understood and kept as a part of whatever you can in your best capacity. Just being like yesterday I said, one of our favorite one. The second favorite one is when you are observant of your breath. The second thing is you're observant of your sound. Padta hai. Just in a general, this you can't even close. And one of the finest places where this meditation gets done is in natural surroundings. And there are meditations on it that rishis or that have been passed on to students because they live near rivers most often, in a natural environment, just sitting by the river bank and listen to the waves. How do you listen? You're not focusing on them. You're allowing the sound to enter. You're registering it. You register all the sounds that the waves, the ripples are making. And suddenly, when you are just in that state of registering, it regurgitates as anandam. Because you're not identified, and yet you've identified everything. That's samyak darshan. So there are many, many such things that are helpful aids for it. Complete state of samadhan is what is spoken of as when it's completely, because ekagrata, as I said, that word itself indicates the status. आपका मन अब हो गया है, मतलब आपका अंतःकरण ऐसा है, आपका चित्त ऐसा है, अब एकाग्र रहता है सर्वदा, विवेक चूड़ामणि says. Unlike us, हमारा कहाँ है? Like yesterday we were saying, as many sensations that come to us, so many dissipations, our minds are ruffled by it. So that much practice, dhire dhire, in life makes us qualify. See, we are almost concluding the first part of Tattva Bodha. And why it is a very beautiful book only is because this Acharya has spelt it out, which Vedanta does not spell out very, very clearly. It is understood you would have all these. ये तो आपका गहना होना ही होना है for knowledge to take place. So this teacher has taken simpler definitions to help us understand so that we can start living our life as best as we can. And as I said, of course, I'll try again still, but hopefully next week we'll do some general exercises, helpful exercises for all these Shamadama Adi Shataka Sampatti that you can recall, and maybe just for its own sake, they're all indirect methods, coaxing our minds to follow them at this point, but we need some aids like that. So meditation is of course final. Bhakti as in identifying with an idol is absolutely correct. So we'll try and do the real ones, and Laukik, as I said, I'm going to try, and hopefully we be able to do it. There'll only be one debate that we'll do after we do a few exercises. Whether debates is other, there's just one choice we have. My preference would be to pause and work on them for some time, one at a time. But the choice is the group's choice. What would you like to do? We can move on with the subject, or we can take every week, just come back with the exercises once a week and see what we want to do. But these are all open-ended. We'll talk about it after we finish the next part. So, Rimjam, you want to start with the Shanti part after me? Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam.
Om. मैम मैं देख सकती हूँ क्या? I see
Is
that.
it not shared?
No.
I'm sharing it.
It's shared.
यहाँ स्क्रीन पे
Yeah, I can see.
नजर आ रहा है स्क्रीन पे.
आ रहा है ना?
हाँ जी.
You can't see?
हाँ.
Rimjam?
Yes, now I can. Yes, now I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam.
Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam.
Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha.
Nyayena Margena Mahishaha.
Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam.
Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam.
Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam.
Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam.
Shubhamastu Nityam.
Shubhamastu Nityam.
Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam.
Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam.
Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.
Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.
Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha.
Kale Varshatu Parajanyaha.
Prithvi Sasya Shalini.
पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी
देशोऽयं शोभरहितः
देशोऽयं शोभरहितः
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु
सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु
सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु
सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु
सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु
सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु
सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः
सर्वे सन्तु निरामया
सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः
सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु
सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
ॐ शान्ति 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 थैंक यू दीप्ति जी।
थैंक यू दीप्ति जी।